Hi, friends. My name is Harvey Green, and I am the Vice President of Prism of NIU. And this year is a really exciting year for Prism because as of 2020, we are 50 years old, which is such an amazing accomplishment for us to achieve, and it wouldn't be without all of the students that put in such hard work, either to develop the organization or just by coming. So, in honor of our 50th anniversary, we are doing a three-part video series where we are honoring Prism's past, its present, and then looking ahead to its future. So, I hope that you enjoy this next video as we interview three past members of Prism's e-board, Jeanne Meyer, Edwin Rivera, and Ronan Kaiser.
I was in Prism from 1996 until 1998. And I was president from 97 to 98, I do believe.
Long ago. No, I was part of Prism. I believe it was between 2008 2012 when I was at NIU.
So I started in 2016, and then when I graduated in 2019, that's when I stopped. So from fall 2016 to spring 2019.
Which was known then as the LGBT Coalition. And first we were the LGB Coalition, then we were the LGBT Coalition. And then shortly after I left, there was this discussion about adding the plus, and that's when then Prism came about.
Yeah, it was a NIU Prism.
We were having dances every week, and those dances were hopping. You'd get a couple hundred people, and then those were going really well, and then the place we had it, and they shut down, and we had nowhere to have the dance. And we'd call places and say, hey, we're looking for a venue to have a student dance. Oh sure. Okay, can we have a contract? Yeah, what's the name of your group? Oh, we're the LGBT Coalition. Oh, we're busy.
When I was there, I truly believe that we became we just exploded onto campus. When I was there, my first year when I was there wasn't that many people involved, but in later years there was, just a large people excited about Prism, either getting involved or going to events and stuff. So definitely getting ourselves out there and known on campus was pretty good. Also during my time with Prism, there was a push to add gender identity to the NIU clause policy. And there was a big push by a student named Cal, and he led the charge, and they put it on, which was phenomenal. It was amazing to see that. So yeah, that was
the first thing that I'm thinking about is my first year as president. We did queer prom, which was the first time that it had been done since I believe the 90s. So that was a huge thing. It had been talked about during my first year in Prism, but didn't really ever get off the ground, I guess.
Sure.
So I think it was a goal of mine to actually drive that.
We started up what became known as Gay Jam, which was every semester, right? We'd have a drag contest, and it was really open mic and slam poetry and something that DeKalb had never seen before. We would get people from Chicago who would drive out to DeKalb for Gay Jam. I'm like, who would have thought that?
Something I'm proud of with my time in Prism. I would say I'm really proud of my e-board, my last year I was there. I'm really proud of all the work that they did. I'm really proud of all of the just all the work, all the effort that everybody put in that last year. That had to be like my best time at Prism, I feel. Like I supported them just as much as they supported me. Like it was just, I don't know, I was just really proud of all the work that we did, and we accomplished that last year that I was there.
I did orientation. I know like something for me was I advertised the fact that I was the president of the club, and so I think that that helped me connect with folks who were coming through when I was an orientation leader. Like that aspect of my role at NIU, being visible to folks coming through orientation, getting messages or just having conversation with folks throughout the orientation days of, them being interested in things.
I can tell great stories, but I can also tell some pretty bad, horror stories. And we had a young man who would come, and he liked to wear men's shirts with skirts. And not that unusual today, but then, everybody knew him. He was a nice guy. And he was in the home student center and got into an elevator and somebody pulled a knife. At the time we reported it to the police, and there's like, well, there's nothing we can do.
Of course.
So things like that, you were aware of where you were and what was going on. But generally on campus, the climate was good, but you were aware when you went off campus to be careful.
I would say I never felt like uncomfortable on campus. I always felt NIU was really like welcoming. So I was never like afraid to like be who I was or like hide myself or anything. So I mean there was like one incident, but like it happened once, like for the most part, like NIU was very like welcoming. There was like really good like support groups if we needed it. And the second I got onto campus, I felt safe. I never not felt safe. But yeah, that's my experience.
I think it was entering into a space where the administration really wanted to hear from students. I'm still hopeful that there's still plenty of things that are happening. I know that they just flew the Pride flag. That was really fun to see. But I think like the administration was definitely starting to develop like a focus on bringing in more inclusion for queer students.
We also were kind of rebels. So like for the Day of Silence, we asked people to wear a button. And so I was out in the Commons passing out buttons, and this big guy got really upset with me and in my face and, shut up, you faggot. And I'm like, dude, you're so wrong. This is not a faggot, and he's wearing Nike football gear from head to toe. So I'm like, he's a football player. So I file a complaint. And then the athletic department's like, well, how do you know he's a football player? I'm like, you know what? Whatever. No one else on this campus walks around head to toe with NIU football gear, all with Nike, So then that was an opportunity to go talk to the president and of the university. We kind of made it into a big thing. So we go talk to the president, and he had never like come to an event or done anything, but he's like, okay, well, what do you want? We're like, A, we want a paid advisor, and B, we want a space like the Center for Black Studies, like the Asian American Center, like the Latino Research Center. We want our own space. And it took years, but that was kind of the start of saying, we want the things that everybody else gets.
Oh man. Impact I left. I hope that I had left I hope I left Prism in a better place when I joined it. I mean, it felt totally different from, before I joined to when I joined. We reached out to a bunch more people. We got more involved. Like, that was my goal, is to like put us out there and like, let the school know, hey, we're NIU Prism and we're here. We did a bunch of events. We got involved with like a whole bunch of different organizations. So I hope my impact was to bring Prism into a little bit more of like a spotlight, and to, let other people, especially like incoming freshmen, know like, hey, here's like this like LGBT plus organization that like you can join if you didn't have it. So that was my big thing, was just basically just like outreach and just making sure that everybody who came in like felt supported and safe, and people knew like we were here and like who we were.
I think largely it has to do with trying to focus on, pushing those boundaries. Like, that was definitely treading on what can we do and what can we try and just push a little bit more.
For me, Prism, it was the first time I was out. And what I didn't tell you is I came to Prism after spending 8 years in the Navy. And I was in charge of investigating crimes. And I was responsible for discharging people who were gay. So I was pretty hurt and injured by the time I couldn't do it anymore. And so the first place I came to was NIU. And it's the place I came out. And I was older, I was 28, and these were 20-year-olds, and they were showing me the way. And I'll never forget that.
I mean, like, it means a lot. It's very inspirational. So reading how Prism started with like the group of people, just like meeting all those years ago to like what it's become now, just like the growth that it's been, it's pretty inspirational to see. And also knowing that like, the growth was from the passion of all of the students that were participating in it, not wanting the organization to just kind of like flounder and just not go anywhere, but like to actually like try to boost it. It's just inspiring to see the history and like hear like 50 years later, right? When I was reading that story, I was just like really inspired by it, and just made me want to like put in more effort into like the things that I was doing and get more passionate about it, for sure.
It was very complex. I mean, it's one of the oldest gay organizations. They were paying for their own space in downtown DeKalb. They weren't getting funding from the student association. Like, they had a lot of things going against them, but they kept still pushing. That, I think that's my buzzword, is resilience.
I'm like, I want us all to feel welcome and be one big community. So should we get rid of Gender and Sexuality Resource Center and create a diversity center that's, true for everybody? Or will we lose that individual identity? I don't have answers for that. But I think it's worth exploring. Some of my regrets about my time in Prism is we didn't do enough outreach to partner with other marginalized groups. And we could have become a much more powerful institution if we had done like you guys are doing with our DACA groups and our other underrepresented groups. You're saying your fight is my fight. And that's so powerful and useful. But I also don't want us to lose our identity as queer folks who have unique struggles and being gender nonconforming and all that. So that's what I think about, Prism, and about the people who are in it, and some of the futures I see. They're very bright.
Prism, I mean, I definitely would like to see it continue. I think it's a very important organization and resource for NIU and the surrounding community for sure. And just, I mean, its success is, just make sure that as a team, you all work well together, mesh together. There's going to be disagreements. Like, when isn't there a disagreement on a team?
Oh, sure.
But it's but it's like learning like that compromise and how to work together that really just like makes you guys successful, and also just like, just helping each other out, thinking of new ideas, never think of, oh, it's just because it's always been done this way, we have to do it. Like, no. And that's what it is. It's just innovation, teamwork. That's what will help Prism like keep going, and making sure you like, you have the right team, and make sure everybody's like passionate about it. I think that's what will make sure that this organization continues for another 50 years.
One thing that I don't think was something that was fully actualized during my time, but I hope for in the future, is a lot of collaboration and, I guess, synergy between different student organizations. I think that there's still a lot of siloing and kind of separation between a lot of student organizations. Like, there's no true intersectional existence between a lot of the student organizations.
It's amazing to me, and it's one of the oldest queer groups in the nation. I mean, and it's always survived because of the students, and against all odds, frankly, because no one was stepping in. You had your one or two faculty advisors, but and I'm very grateful to them, but it was definitely the students who always pushed the boundaries.
The Big 5-0, whoa. No, I think it's really cool. 50 years, that's like a huge milestone, and I'm very proud of like you guys. I'm very proud of all the work that like everybody's doing to keep it going and keep it going strong. Like, I think that's phenomenal. So congrats.
It's really exciting. Any organization to reach, especially like a college student organization, to reach this. But with the amount of times, it really, going through the history and like the amount of times the name has changed, not necessarily saying, but also showing that, a name is a name, but including people is really what it's all about.
You picked the wrong person to ask this, or you picked the perfectly right person, because my job in my professional life is to make sure you as a student follow the rules. Now, me as a person, I'm going to tell you, I never got anywhere following the rules. There was a time where it was like, yeah, just wait, it's not the right time, and I'm like, bullshit. This is the time we have, and I'm not waiting one day longer to ask for what I should have.
I guess support each other. As an e-board, support each other. As a community, make sure that you're listening and support them as well. But yeah, just, if somebody needs help, don't be afraid to, offer a hand, or ask like, hey, like, is everything okay? Like, do you need anything? I think that would be it. And also just don't, like, just reach out.
Understanding the history of it's really important, and like the fact that it was a predominantly gay white organization when it began, and that definitely does carry through to today.